Hello and welcome to Chapter 8 of Nightfall, the AI written and voice acted crossover fanfiction series. It's been a while since we saw our original group of protagonists, so I decided for this chapter we'd return to them and kind of see what they're up to. So let's just jump into things. Twilight returned to Nightfall after successfully leveling Gather G, the base of the Nightmare King. The Nightmare King had escaped though, and her boyfriend Mordecai and friends Angel, Dust, and Mike are waiting for her when she returns.
Twilight, welcome back.
Mordecai says as she enters the abandoned hotel.
Wait until you see what we've been up to.
Angel explains.
And you are suspended in the air.
Mike flies into the air as well, hovering a few inches off the floor.
Yeah, this place is perfect.
He beams.
And there's a basement full of weapons down here.
The friends enter the hotel, which has become their home, and descend down to the basement.
Mike, how long do you think this place will last?
Angel asks.
The city's gone to hell. We're running on bare essentials. And the power situation isn't the best.
I get it.
Mike says.
We're pretty isolated. And the best way to do that is by staying put.
It's a good location.
Mordecai points out.
Close to the city, but far enough to be safe. It'd take a lot to get it now. And if it did, it'd probably be more trouble than it's worth.
You know what else this place needs?
Continues Angel.
A big-ass hole in the ground to screw anything that moves.
What doesn't?
Chuckles Mike.
Damn right, brother.
Agrees Angel.
Hey, I've got an idea.
Cries Mordecai.
Why don't we all celebrate our great survival by getting instantly fucked drunk?
Yeah,
Agrees Mike.
that sounds like a plan.
I'm in.
Says Angel.
Love to.
Says Twilight. As they reach the basement, Twilight is surprised to see her friends Rainbow Dash and Rarity digging around. They pause as they see her.
Hello there.
Says Rarity.
Perhaps you'd like a nice book to read. Perhaps.
She lightly flutters her eyelashes and gives a big grin.
Maybe later.
Twilight says.
What are you lot doing? We're looking for the elements of power.
Explains Dashy.
Oh.
Says Twilight.
Applejack and Pinkie Pie are all missing, but if we can find the elements of power, we can push back the Nightmare King.
Explains Rarity.
I thought Fluttershy and Applejack were dead.
Says Twilight.
Oh, no.
Says Dash.
They're alive and well. We just need to find them and the elements of power. We're just here.
Says Rarity.
Help. Okay.
Says Twilight.
Well, keep looking. I'm going to find the others.
Where's Pinky?
Asks Angel.
She was working with some bandits, but the Nightmare King slaughtered them all. So, I sent her to gather more doppelgangers. She's really good at creating them, so she should be able to easily find some.
Do you think she'll be okay?
I'm sure she will.
Says Twilight.
And if not, well, we'll deal with it when it comes.
Let's go upstairs.
Says Mike.
I hear something weird in here.
They all go upstairs to the second floor where Mike heard the noises.
I think I found a hiding spot.
Says Mordecai as he disappears down a hallway.
Well, let's check it out.
Says Mike. The group follows him down the hallway and come to a door with a big hole in it. They all look through it and see a large room. There's a bunch of desks, each with a skull and crossbones hanging from a nail on the wall.
This is funny.
Says Mike.
Ain't that it funny?
Asks Bender. The group jumps in surprise when they see Bender sitting in a corner.
You guys scared me.
He says.
That really was pretty funny, the bed you did on the bridge.
Everyone all right?
Asks Twilight.
We're fine.
Says Mike.
Are you sure you should be here, Twi?
Asks Spike, stepping out from the shadows.
You're not really supposed to come to places like this by yourself.
I wasn't by myself.
Says Twilight.
I had help.
Twilight sees a shadow step out of the corner of her eye. She turns around to see a tall man with a goatee standing behind her. She holds her sword out, but the man puts his hands up.
No need for that, dear.
He says.
I was merely going to tell you that you shouldn't be down here.
Then why didn't you?
Asks Twilight.
My name is Shaggy, and this is the Nightmare Realm.
What?
They said this is the Nightmare Realm. The Nightmare King imprisoned you guys in his body, and he makes this place his home.
Explains Shaggy.
Well, why would he do that?
Asks Spike.
Were you guys enemies?
We did battle, but he escaped.
Twilight says thoughtfully.
I suppose he thought you'd make good use of the place. The king is a very pragmatic creature.
How do you know all this?
Asks Spike.
The Nightmare King has a habit of imprisoning folks for reasons and then keeping me updated on those who break out.
Says Shaggy.
Why didn't you help us?
Asks Spike.
I would have had the king not forbidden it.
Says Shaggy.
Now I suggest you get out of here before the king catches you all and punishes you more than he already has.
Why should I trust you?
Asks Spike.
I don't know if I'd go that far,
Says Shaggy.
but I trust the Nightmare King sufficient to not kill you all for this.
Fine.
Says Spike.
I'll trust your word for now, but I'm confiscating this dagger.
Go ahead.
Says Shaggy, handing his dagger to Spike.
Spike, what happened to you?
Mordecai asks.
The goat man, who then forced me to play a song on my banjo. That was the first time I'd ever played in front of anyone, and I got scared. The goat man made me play it again and again and again. I passed out.
That's awful.
Says Angel.
Why would someone do that to you?
I don't know. Can we please get out of here?
Says Mike.
I will take you out.
Says Shaggy.
But we have to go through the secret passage in the bathroom.
Okay, let's go.
Says Spike eagerly. Shaggy leads them through the bathroom and into a passageway, and then out into the woods. The sun is setting, and it's a beautiful sight.
There are ruins over that way where the king lives. Be careful, it's nearly dark.
Thanks for the warning.
Says Mike.
See you later, I guess.
The group nod and go their separate ways. Base of the king's statue. Spike runs up to the Nightmare King's giant statue and runs up it. He stands on the top of the head and stares down at the group.
All right, you guys ready?
He asks.
Ready as we'll ever be.
Says Twilight.
Let's do it.
Says Mordecai. Spike plays the opening notes of In the Hall of the Mists, and the group joins in harmony. The hum of the machine oiled for battle reverberates throughout the wood. A black, hooded figure in the distance raises their gloved hands in response. A ring of violet light appears around the Nightmare King, and he walks forward in a pair of boots made of bone.
It had been a nice concert.
He says.
I believe I had a reservation at a restaurant a few miles from here.
Spike stops playing and looks at the Nightmare King with a nervous expression.
You're not going, are you?
I would never hurt a fellow musician.
He says.
Besides, you're Fluttershy's friends, aren't you?
Spike nods quickly.
She is a very musical friend,
Says the Nightmare King, remembering her screams.
but very trusting. That's why I like her.
He stomps his foot and the ground begins to rumble and crack. The earth opens up, revealing a large, man-made hole.
For you.
He says. The group steps forward, down the stairs and into the hole. It's dark, but Twilight can see that they're underground now. The Nightmare King follows. She can hear the Nightmare King walking around and opening up drawers before she's able to make out the rest of the group.
Spike,
She asks.
what's going on?
We're trapped,
He says.
but we're fine.
How can you be sure?
He says.
I don't know. I'm just feeling a little lightheaded, that's all.
Me too.
Says Mikey. Twilight understands fear. That's what makes her different than your average monster. But she's sensing something different from the group. Nausea, terror, paralysis. The group as a whole is experiencing all these things and more. The thoughts are all jumbled up and incoherent, like they're in a brain malfunction.
I can't do this.
I'm scared. This isn't what it looks like.
We're not monsters.
Are we?
The Nightmare King steps out of the shadows and smiles at the group.
What happened?
He asks.
Were you upset to see me? Should it be you all my friends?
He walks up to each one of them and speaks to them in turn. After he's finished, he smiles.
Now, doesn't that feel better?
Yes!
Manages Spike.
But we're still scared.
Should be.
He turns to face them, taking his hood off. They're too scared to do anything except scream desperately.
My name is the Nightmare King,
He says.
and I'm here to help you all.
His face changes. His teeth become huge, bloodthirsty fangs, and his eyes turn completely red. And a skeleton comes out from behind him.
I look who it is.
He says.
I'm back.
You are a monster.
Shrieks Spike.
You're a monster?
I am indeed.
He says.
Well, don't worry, I'm on your side.
You're not helping. You're a monster?
The Nightmare King sighs and closes his eyes.
Spike your Spike.
He says.
I'm going to help you get out of here, but I need you to listen to me. This very scared little boy who's lost his way. You don't want to be here. This isn't you. You're too little dragon with a home and faraway force. Don't let these take you away from them. They aren't your friends. They wandered too far from the path.
I'm scared.
Says Spike, still looking terrified.
I know you are.
The Nightmare King smiles.
You're going to be even more scared soon, however.
He adds, smiling.
I'm going to make it all right. In the end, you'll be glad you stopped being afraid.
The Nightmare King walks away from Spike and towards the others.
Now,
He says.
I'm going to help these six they real scared, whose little souls who strayed from the path. I'm going to lead them back to the monastery where they'll be safe. Before I die, I need one more soul who will be strong enough to lead these others back to the path. That person will have power. They'll be able to lead others. They'll be important. But
He adds with a grin.
they'll never be free of their own fear.
He stops, looking at each of them in turn.
Who will it be? Who will have the strength to lead these lost souls back to the path? Who will have the power?
The room is deathly silent as each of them looks away. Then, from the back, Angel Dust raises his hand.
I will have the power.
He says.
Thank you.
Then you're asleep now? Oh, you've been through a lot.
The group closes their eyes. Soon, they're all asleep. The Nightmare King approaches Spike, who's still too scared to sleep.
Come with me, little one. I'll take care of you now.
Spike nods, and they head to the exit. As they reach it, however, Spike finds himself facing a dozen Nightmare Knights, all perfectly still and silent.
You're coming with me?
he asks.
We're going to the monastery.
You and the others.
Confirms the Nightmare King.
Come on, let's go.
And I decided to cut it off there as it felt like it was about to jump into something a little bit longer maybe. So next time we'll just follow Spike and the Nightmare King up those stairs and into the monastery that we've been hearing about since I think chapter 2 is the first time it mentioned there being an abandoned monastery. Anyway, I hope to see you all then, but for now, if you haven't seen the previous chapter, here's a little preview of what you missed. SpongeBob nods.
Let's do it.
SpongeBob holds out a hand, Shrek grabs it, and the two of them raise their other ones into the air. They fire lightning at the trees, and the grass, and the animals, and anything in their path. Everything is set alight, and within seconds, the fire has spread. The animals scamper out of the way, and the rats flee deeper into their burrows. Shrek and SpongeBob don't even notice. They're too caught up in burning the land. SpongeBob takes a deep breath, then lets it out slowly.
That feels good. I think this land needed clearing away.
Yeah,